All right, welcome back to the channel, everybody. Aesop Grim here, and this is the continuation of my blind playthrough of RDR2 here in 2025. I'm recording this as of Thursday night. This is going to be your Friday episode, and when I say Thursday night, I mean it's almost the witching hour. So we're just about recording day of, and holy smokes, a lot of stuff popped off. So here's what we're going to do. I have a lot of things to talk about. I had to take notes on this. And I know we're playing RDR2, but I have been using this particular series. This is the only time I've ever done this to talk about current events also. And it really just kind of started that way on accident. And I think it's because RDR2 with its 1899 American kind of platform creates contrasts, and you can even see how the developer's bias enters into some scenarios that seem a little bit unrealistic to me, and it spurs me on to talk about how our current society is working and stuff like that. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to ride up here to we were going to go here into Saint Denis, but we're going to ride up here to our camp, make sure that I can drop food off. I'm not sure if I can or not. And we're going to go hunting. If I can't drop food off, we're just going to hunt for ourselves. This is going to be a really relaxed episode. I got a whole litany of things to go through. So let's go ahead and get started. I guess we'll start out by looking at how each character is doing between Arthur and our horse. I really can't quite remember if I ate before saving last time. Of course, it's going to say underweight because that's where we're at in the game. We're pretty much perma-locked to underweight. Horse is now fit and clean and calm. I think I fed our horse just a little while ago as far as the game is concerned. And so that means that Arthur ate as well, because we kind of tend to do it at the same time. I remember both of them at the same time. All right, so we're going to get started. All right.
Yep.
So I have four kind of, I guess, sections of thought. And I'll just outline them for you real quick. I put it in almost like an outline form. So number one is stuff about the riots. Number two is stuff about, I titled it Law and Order. Number three is pretty short, but might be the most important. Well, I don't want to say most important. I think that's inaccurate, but the potentially, actually, shockingly, given what all's going on, potentially the largest ripple effect, and we'll get to that in a minute. It's titled Middle East Explodes. You guys can probably guess because you're watching this on Friday. And then the last one I have titled as Wins. Okay, so let's just go to section number one, riots. Obviously, this is my opinion. If you were to talk to a lefty, I think that they would tell you the opposite. But I believe the data backs me up. What I'm trying to say is that I'm a person who tries really hard to be accurate. I tend to be very honest and genuine in my argument with people. I trust people at face value, and I can get kind of messed up by people who do not who argue disingenuously. All this to say that I'm not someone who tries to shape a narrative, and so I'm not going to tell you that this is how something is if I think that it could just be my take on things, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. I think the evidence kind of overwhelmingly supports me, but there's some back and forth over it. Okay, so I hope that you get the idea.
Yeah.
That's like a little bit of a precursor for you. So my first subheading here is my take on this is that Trump absolutely crushed the LA riots. That's because I believe that Karen Bass, CIA background, communist revolutionary since the 70s, took many trips to see Fidel Castro in Cuba, clearly kind of enamored with him. I don't necessarily mean romantically as in kissy lovey-dovey, but romantically as in the romantic era. You know, that at the very least. I wouldn't know about anything else. You know, it's on the table, but I just don't have any. It would be speculation. She has a background in organizing. I think this entire thing was totally tax funded. I think it's all AstroTurf. We have receipts, guys. We have Craigslist snapshots. You have entered legendary animal. Okay. This is not where I thought I was going. Is this our camp? Where's everybody at? No, this can't be our camp. We're up there by, we're not here. This is the old camp. Yeah, I need to remove this marker. There we go. Oh yeah, we got a long ways to go, actually. Okay. So be it. It's going to be a chill episode today, even though it's heavy topics. So I think it was all AstroTurf. We have pictures of people being hired on Craigslist, you know, advertisements looking for qualified people and kind of enumerating what the qualifications are, making up to $12,500 a week, regardless of whether they're called in or not, just to stand by and be ready to go if called upon. That's dark money, guys. That's Black Ops money. We also have a lot of polling showing that both nationally and there locally in LA, people are against these riots. These two things aren't adding up. So I say that Trump crushed this thing because he brought in, they tried to escalate on him, and his escalation ladder is higher than theirs, and they had to bend the knee. Gavin Newsom tried to get some talking sound bites out of it, looked like an absolute fool doing it. At one point in time, karma broke against him, and his own sound team just couldn't get his audio going as he addressed the entire state, and it was just mute. They looked like clowns running a clown show, amateur operation. Karen Bass, again, the woman with the background in organizing protests, who told police to stand down early, is out there trying to say how Donald Trump started all this, said that everything was under control. No, it wasn't. Trump entered the picture because it was not under control, and because you told police to stand down. I mean, they're just bold-faced lying, because they know that the side that the people that are tuning into them with an ounce of sympathy, they don't tend to really look very far for information. So you can just totally tell them fairy tales and they'll believe it because it's confirmation bias, right? So that's what she's doing. But she was forced to establish a citywide curfew, and that's because this shiznit was breaking very bad for them. Very bad. Marines were coming in, and dudes were absolutely hopped up about getting to go scrap, you know, against these people waving foreign flags. So I believe they lost their ass on that one. That's how I would phrase it. Now, we already have a whole bunch of things planned for this Saturday nationwide. In my opinion, that's because they just can't call it off. I have enough. This stuff is all deep state run. I recognize it. How do I put this? I've never been part of the deep state for a day in my life. I've not been part of intel communities, although I've known people who were. But fed is fed, and I was military for 20 years. I recognize the earmarks of planning and operation. I recognize the primary, secondary, and tertiary contingency plans. I understand that these kinds of ops that are run by offices who think in this way aren't thrown together over a week or a couple weeks. They're put together usually years ahead of time for scenarios that might unfold. So there's too much slush money that's been back channeled into the right accounts. Too many contacts made internationally to organize and get equipment in. Too many people hired and put in place. Too many field leaders put in charge of crews to call this thing off, especially if at least 25% of the people that are working for you are rabid activists. That's a tough dog to pull back, right? Those are true believers. So these protests are going to go forward, and they already happened in Chicago. Now, I haven't read up on what all went down in Chicago. I don't know how that went, but my impression is that LA was home turf. That was the place to test it, and it got blown to pieces. And so they're going to try and roll out this No Kings thing. But well, I have some things to say on that too, but I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. Let's look at some of the things that have happened here. So Trump crushes the LA riots. The FBI is investigating Chirla and PSL, two of the major organizations behind this stuff. It is pretty much understood by a lot of people that this is AstroTurf, and certainly by our professionals. And so they're researching and chasing down where the money's coming from. At the same time, where this was like, they tried to duplicate what happened during the George Floyd riots. They tried to pressure, through social pressure, they tried to create a social pressure situation that would force Trump to back down. Instead, Trump escalated. And well, I don't know if it's right to say that he escalated. He stuck to his guns, and so he called in the National Guard. Then he called in active duty Marines, and then ICE doubled down and said, "Hey, we're going to be right back in here tomorrow, arresting as many people as we can find." There wasn't an ounce of back down from the Trump administration. That's part of why I said he absolutely wrecked them. They threw every fastball they had with as much heat as they could, and he didn't even flinch. And then they're the ones that are forced to put the curfew on and start shutting down operations and hope that things work better elsewhere. Right? That's how I'm reading it. So ICE doubled down and ramped up their ops. Here we go.
You don't pay no mind that these is Murphy. Get after it.
Here we go. That's a lot of guys. I've already died to this once before. Let's go ahead and take care of this nonsense first. Can I pick a few of them off? Let's get some more distance. Oh, I can't lead them into camp. Okay, let's head up the hill here. looks like they... Well, they're still coming. There's a threat bar there. Oh, no, I'm at the camp. Okay, hold on. This is... I can't... Enemies were led to camp. Oh, man. I don't really want that. We might have to load this thing up completely all over again. I think this is going to probably take us right back to where I started. Yeah, that's too bad. I mean, it was dark. I couldn't really tell which way I needed to go. All right, continuing on then. Oh, Department of Homeland Security. So ICE doubled down, right? Said we're going to be right back in here tomorrow. We're not backing down one iota. We're going to be arresting people. I don't trust this, guys. I think it auto-saved whenever they found the camp, so... Keep getting interrupted. Here we go. Department of Homeland Security sent notices to hundreds of thousands of migrants that their permission to live and work in the U.S. has been revoked. See, that's what I mean. Like, there was no back down whatsoever. They tried, when I say they, I mean the deep state tried to run an op, a George Floyd-style op, to force the Trump administration to back off, and I think they failed miserably. There you are. All right, let's go ahead and set the marker for the right place all the way up here. There was a guy, Alejandro, oh, I forgot his last name, Osendro or something like that. And it doesn't quite, it's not that simple. It's got like a letter in it that I wouldn't expect in a Hispanic name. Ocelundro maybe, or something like that. Anyway, he's the one that was filmed passing out what's called bionic face shields. I don't know everything to do with that, but they're special face shields. Now, people went through and pointed out how these very kind of specific style shields.
It's all right, boy. Whoa, boy, easy now.
Were available at Walmart. They looked exactly like the boxes that were being passed out. And at the same time, the Walmart heiress, who isn't part of the Walton bloodline, but she married in, and her husband died in a plane accident. She's one of the Walmart heiresses. She lives in Mexico, and she took out some a front page ad, an entire page in the New York Times, so she paid big money for it, advertising for No King's Day. Apparently, the entire board for Walmart begged her not to do this. She's been kind of a thorn in their side because she's very, very activist and liberal. And that's activist anything has never been popular for business, but activist liberal seems to especially be bad for business because of the whole get woke, go broke universal axiom that seems to be in play for the past decade plus. So she went ahead through with it, and she's been posting in Mexico also, taking out ads there. And boy, that went bad for Walmart. Walmart had to come out and like personally say, we disavow this, we don't agree with it. She doesn't represent our views, because they're getting a lot of heat from customers that are ready to boycott them. And the customers are telling her, actually a number of customers are saying, I hear you, I empathize with you. Thank you for stating that. I do appreciate it. It helps me not to demonize you. But she still receives profits from this company. And as long as she's doing that, I ain't shopping here. You know, so that's kind of... Walmart's getting a lot of heat over that. But back to that dude, that tied Walmart in because somebody linked that on X.com that you could find these exact kind of face shields in the same kind of boxing and everything at Walmart. So it's believed that he bought them at Walmart. And then Christie did that thing at about the same time. And those two things together provided a pretty strong anti-Walmart sentiment. Okay, we're not going to worry about him. But this guy, he was videotaped, caught on video. He stares right at the camera. The dude's very bold, I would say. I think this is the kind of guy that he knows who he is and what he believes in. I can't really fault him for that. That's typically a kind of a high character thing. Biznich, you need to settle the hell down. Yeah, I think warhorses are just temperamental. That would make sense. I can't quite read that, guys. In memory of something. There's a whole bunch of people buried here. Oh, they're all workers. Wow. So there was like a train track accident or a mining accident or something like that.
Come on now, boy.
So he was caught on video, and the FBI found him and arrested him. So I don't know what's going to happen. Remember, these guys, they all have really good Antifa, all of them. There's very good infrastructure and legal representation in place. The Dems have taken kind of the Chinese model, and they've got people in the right positions. George Soros has bought a bunch of attorney generals. These people, sometimes they get released real fast. But I think it's a new day now, and I think the FBI, especially given that they've announced that they're investigating Shirla and the PSL, and it's been stated well before now that this administration would be looking into who's funding these and hold them accountable as well. That was said months ago. So I think it's a new day, and this guy's going to get squeezed for information. They're going to find out who's running him and map out more of the network. So that's really good news, in my opinion. They found another guy, too. I forget what the situation was. Actually, I think he's still on the lam. But I think he assaulted an officer or something. They raided his house, and he's on the run, but we're looking for him. And then Governor Greg Abbott in Texas, he came out, and he basically dared the rioters to FAFO. And he said, you break a rule, we're going to arrest you. And if you commit violence, you're going to learn all about don't mess with Texas. Now, to me, that's such a meme that you're antagonizing people. It's like a dare, right? When somebody wants to come down, they're thinking about acting squirrely, and you're like, hey, man, don't mess with Texas. You're going to find out. And you're basically, that's like a double dog dare. Like, hey, run with it if you think that you're going to be okay. But I'm telling you right now, you're going to find out things work differently here. And it's a lesson that you might not really walk away from the same. Like, you might walk differently for the rest of your life. Oh, no. Time to go. Might walk with a limp for the rest of your life. So Abbott, that's like Abbott issuing a challenge. He called up 5,000 National Guard and over 2,000 police and has them stationed all over the place. And then on top of that, Texas militias are mobilizing, and they're telling their people, hey, show up fully. We call it, oh, shoot, I forgot. Load-bearing vest. golly, I can't believe I blanked that word. There's an American term and there's a British term, and I have the British term in mind, but we have an American term, and for whatever reason, despite doing this for 20 years, I kind of forgot. But it's basically kitted up.
Pay no mind that these is Murphy. Hills.
Alright, so we're going to actually turn around here and ride right through these guys. Okay, ran one guy over. Whoops. And they're telling their people, come kitted up and come ready to defend and get into action if it's required to protect your state and your nation. So Texas sounds like it's ready for a war. And I'm real interested to see how things go this Saturday, because I do think it's not quite as true as it used to be. I mean, it used to be Texas was a place that you really didn't want to not mind your P's and Q's. But the way that society has shifted to the left and the way laws are, every place has infiltrated some, and Texas is included in that. They've been trying to turn this place purple for a real long time. Hey, look at that. They didn't follow us. So they have people in place here. But I really do think you're running way higher risk acting out here than you are in a place like California. So I'm interested to see how it goes with this much, I guess what I would call defense standing up, including the civilian population itself. Wow. You know, it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. And I hope things don't get too complex for law enforcement. But I've told you guys before, here in Texas, it works differently. If you get into a bar brawl and get your teeth kicked down your throat, and the police show up and they ask around and talk to people and they look at the video and stuff, and it turns out you're the one who popped off at the mouth, or you instigated it and a dude just kind of cleaned your clock for you.
I'm sorry.
The cops ain't arresting you. Might be the one who gets arrested. More likely it's just left alone. No, bro.
Have you seen
I have not. So I'm just interested. I don't know how it's going to go. I'm curious to see what happens. Usually, in my opinion, Antifa is actually kind of easy to scare. You just got to give a credible enough threat, and then they'll put out one of their wussy little, we've deemed it too unsafe to protest. Yeah. Well, you were bringing chemicals and Molotovs, man. So we kind of said, yeah, if you want to do that, it's eye for an eye down here. Yep. So we'll see how that goes. And then Data Republican has put together a really cool tool that anybody can look at this. Just look up Data Republican on X.com. Find the post where she talks about putting a tool together to trace the financing for the No Kings NGO, or maybe it's called something else, but they're the ones that are organizing this nationwide No Kings protest on Saturday. And in the first comment of the post where she talks about that, she has the actual tool linked. And boy, it is really neat. It's like a flow chart. You can look at all of the organizations that are connected to funding this No Kings group. Click into them, and it'll show you where they get all their funding. And that's how you find out just how much of this, how high a percentage of this is taxpayer funded. All right, so I'm looking to see if we can hand food in, and oh, right here. Yeah, donate. Okay, we're gonna go hunting. Well, actually, we're gonna sleep first, I guess. Micah wants to come start crap again.
Oh, there he is. Coffin Billy. Get lost. Oh, you'll be okay, Arthur. And if you ain't, we'll all miss you.
I'll be in hell, Micah. Eagerly awaiting your arrival.
I will miss our conversations, Arthur. I really will.
I won't.
Alright, so we're going to go ahead and sleep. Well, I guess I should eat first. Yeah.
What, Micah?
Okay. Sleep till morning. So you can click into any of these organizations. You can see how all the money's being funneled. It's a whole bunch of them too. This is what they've been doing. This is how you hide money. And it's like money flows from places like USAID into big organizations, and then they funnel out like a percentage. It's almost like an Amway setup, is what it looks like at first blush to me. They throw out a percentage to a handful of organizations below them, and then those organizations funnel a percentage to the ones below them, and that's how this stuff ends up in an account like No Kings has. And it's lots of money. We're talking big money, millions and millions of dollars. So very, very neat tool. And I'm sure that our intel services have similar or better tools at their disposal. So this stuff is getting chased down. All right, where's my horse at? Coming through, Jack. Look out, buddy.
Arthur.
Good morning, kiddo. Let's sell these skins, or donate them, I guess.
We could really use some more meat, Mr. Morgan.
Well done, Mr. Morgan.
This is hay, animal fat. Okay, bear claw. I'm gonna keep this meat. Don't worry, I'm bringing you some,
thanks.
bud.
Many thanks, Mr. Morgan.
All right, let's go hunting.
Time to go, boy.
And that wraps up that first section. Now we're halfway through the video, so might need to pick it up a little bit. Second section I have is called Law and Order. So the first thing I have written here is I've gotten two different reports on this. One says the Spokane president of city council was arrested. The other says that the former Spokane president of the city council was arrested for impeding ICE. It could be that the second one came out later, and the reason it said former is because he's been fired. Like he can't legally hold office after being arrested for the charge that he has against him. I don't really know. I mean, that's speculation on my part. I'm just trying to... I'm not quite sure if it's the current one, the former one, or if it's the current one who's now or was the current one who is now the former one because of being arrested. Hey, we've been here before. I recognize that tree. So you guys get the picture. But he got arrested for impeding ICE. And what did Tom Homan say? This was before Trump even got into office. He had been elected, but we were waiting. And Homan said, I don't care who you are. I don't care what position you hold, what your title is. If you break the law and you get in our way, we're arresting you. And that's correct. That's correct. In no world is that incorrect. That's the absolute right thing to do. No one's above the law, right? This is the left who's always been screaming the nobody's above the law thing, except that they have an entire nobody's above the law starter kit of people who clearly are above the law. Not anymore. New day. They ain't used to it either. They don't like it. They don't really quite know how to deal with this. They scream fascism, fascism, fascism. And that Trump's arresting his political opponents after they ran 96 indictments against them that were BS. I don't really care about... Oh, goodness. Okay, I guess I murdered somebody. That's what I get for not practicing proper gun etiquette.
Easy, boy.
So anyway, that's good news. You know, I remember during the George Floyd riots when that Portland mayor was out there rioting with the rioters. Yeah, and then they got pissed at him.
Can't figure much with that.
What's the hurry?
Oh my gosh. I'm worried that guy was counting me as having witnessed a crime. So yeah. You know, like, it's kind of like nothing personal. Even though it's for him, it's completely personal. Look at all the bullet holes, man. Oh no, wrong place, wrong time, amigo. So we need to take this carcass in. So, you know, from my perspective, that's an outstanding thing to do. From an Antifa person's perspective, it's Hitler all over again, and the camps are rising up, right? These people are idiots. I really despise them. I got my mask on now, so I don't think this will be a problem. I was just hunting here, sir. Yeah. Oh, witness investigating. That might be bad for you. Well, this is a perfectly good carcass. Can I pick those up? I sure can. Come on. Oh, I didn't mean to drop that. I don't want to drop that. Okay, well, we got the mallard. Uh-oh. Witness murder. Oh my goodness gracious. It's so many people. Let's maybe Let's maybe. Oh, we can't. There should be a second one. Oh, I got him. Okay. Well, one got away. Doggone it.
Hey, boy.
All right. Well, I guess we better just move on, man. Crime reported. Well, fine. Oh my gosh. Should have done this a long time ago. Just left all the loot, gotten out of here.
Easy.
What do we got here? 1 star, 2 star, another 1 star, and another 2 star. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Easy there.
what about out there? 1 star. It's a buck. Also a 1 star. Fine. Well, since they're already a 1 star, we need more meat.
Easy. Whoa.
That'll do. What's next here? Aha! Well, New Jersey Representative McIver. I don't remember how to say her name. She's the one that was pushing against ICE officers. This was a little while ago. A month ago? I don't know if it was a whole month ago, but it was like last month. And feels like it. Man, I don't know. Time flies when you're having fun, so maybe it was a little bit longer. She's been officially indicted, so that's more law and order. I'm really excited about this stuff. Like, it's Trump's last term. He don't care. No F's given. And the political pressure isn't going to get to him. It's been really fantastic. So she's now been indicted formally. So they're going to have a trial. Today, a Democrat senator from California tried to enter into the Kristi Noem, the lead for the secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. She was given a briefing, and he tried to barge in there and interrupt the conference and force her to answer questions that he had. Now, he's a senator. He's got a lot of weight, right? But he didn't have a security pin on him. He wasn't. He was breaking protocol. Security in there tried to escort him out, as is the appropriate thing to do. He's not doing things the right way, and he didn't have a security clearance. He didn't. They call it a security pin. So he's not authorized to be there. This is a guy that just kind of felt entitled to show up wherever he wants, whenever he wants, because of his title. And when he resisted arrest, they pressed against him a little bit harder. He pressed back. Eventually, he got kind of almost taken off of his feet, like pushed back a little bit harder, and it put him on his back heel. And then they sort of rushed him out in the hallway, and he resisted some more, and they slammed him to the ground, man. Now, it wasn't the hardest takedown I've ever seen, but still, it's a U.S. senator. And they put him on his face, man. And they cuffed him. He was temporarily arrested. So, again, you're not doing things correctly. You're acting as if you're above the law. That you can just do... You're acting kind of like a king, ironically, says the party that wants to protect democracy and is bankrolling the No King Day protests. You're acting like you just got the run of the land. And you get to do whatever you want, whenever you want it, and however you want it. That's a disgustingly high sense of entitlement. And he got reset on that today. That's another thing that I'm very excited to see. Sources close to the Democrat Party have indicated... Let me... this guy again.
Excuse me. Have you seen an Englishman?
Oh, I could shoot him.
Lost him. Lost him.
Well, we're not going to do that. Let's see. What does this say? Sources close to Dem Party report that Dems are purposely trying to get arrested by the Trump admin because they think it will boost their poll numbers. Yep. Wow, they are not reading the room, are they? This is the same kind of logic that led them to thinking that if they persecuted Trump under lawfare, that it would boost their poll numbers. Yeah, that didn't go out. That didn't go well at all. It had the opposite impact, and I think this is going to also. I mentioned already the LA mayor was forced to set a curfew in the city. Yep. I think that's a loss for her. I think that is not what she wanted to do. I think that's a capitulation. She was forced to do that. That's like coming up with an excuse to like delay the game for rain or something like it's doing something that kind of just stops the competition. All right, that's a walk-off win for Trump. There we go. I'm absolutely here for it. A video was released today. It's very, very pixelated, and it's from a long lens angle. You really can't see a whole lot of stuff, but it was of the Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf tussle conflict that resulted in Carmelo Anthony murdering Austin Metcalf. Well, let's say killing. I mean, the guy's going to have a trial, right? We don't know. Did he murder him or did he kill him? I have my opinions. I think it looks really, really bad for the kid, but that's why we have a trial.
This stew is decidedly lacking on decent meat, Mr. Morgan.
All right.
Well, I'll take what I can get.
Well, Camp's fighting again.
There should be some real good eating.
Very good. We were getting low.
Okay.
Thank you, Arthur.
Now let's see if maybe we can find some 3 stars. Where are we at? 50 minutes, and I haven't gotten through a lot of stuff yet. That's not my car. My horse.
Oh, hi, Arthur. Okay, fella.
But anyway, it seems to fit more with the idea that Carmelo reacted in an inappropriate, non-proportionate manner, because you see the reactions of other people and stuff like that. Now, the theory here is that this is what was released to the public. This video is all going to come out in court. We think that there's probably other videos just because of the nature of how things are these days, and everybody's got a cell phone and stuff like that. And it's a pretty large venue. There's probably going to be more camera angles. I mean, the whole venue is set up for recording what's going on at close like zoomed in cameras, just so you can call a football game, you know. So we think that there's clearer video, and there's probably more video, is what, whenever I say we, I mean like the civilian population. That's what we're speculating. So we'll see how that goes. Oh, Florida Governor DeSantis came out and told citizens that if you are driving along and protesters block the highway and impinge your ability to, is that the right word, impede your ability to get away, and you feel like your life is under threat, it's okay to run them over. Again, 2 thumbs up from me. Oklahoma had a similar rule that was released during the George Floyd riots. Of course, the left comes out and screams bloody murder about how that's not right, that's not right. What a weird thing to say. You know, it's not okay to say that if somebody's life feels threatened because you're surrounding their car, beating it to a pulp, trying to break windows out, and preventing them and their family from running, that they can't just hit the gas and get out of there. You think that that's illegal and they should be forced to stay where they're at? That's odd. Right? What a bunch of psychopaths. Right on top of that, Florida being as red as it is, man, this is a great FAFO state. Broward County, which is right next to where I grew up. It's just south of where I grew up. Broward County Police Chief came out today, said if you break the law, you'll be arrested. If you break the law, you'll be arrested and you're going to jail. If you break the law and run, you'll be arrested and go to jail tired, because we're going to chase you down. And if you, he said 3 things. I can only remember 2 of them. Pull out a Molotov, point a weapon at an officer. Maybe it was something along the lines, if you get violent or something like that, we will notify your next of kin where to find your remains, because we will kill you graveyard dead. He said that at the mic, man. He said we will kill you graveyard dead. He's talking about these protests coming up on Saturday. There's a whole lot of FAFO sentiment out there. So I don't know, man. The temperature on the streets are pretty hot. Last thing on this section was that 88 out-of-state Antifa members waving Mexican flags in the New York City protest were arrested. So they're from out of state. I guarantee you they didn't drive themselves there. Somebody paid for this. These people are professional rioters. And as I said, I wouldn't get too hopeful about what happens to them. They have excellent legal representation, and there are people in office that kind of tend to help. Like, there are judges, there are attorney generals, there's lawyers, and public service, not just defense lawyers, city mayors. There are people in place that I think are paid to get their number called for instances like this and get these people out quickly. But it's also changing, and that I don't think they can do that as well as they used to. So regardless, we'll see how it goes, or what we hear, if anything, about these people that are being arrested and whether they stay arrested and actually get sentenced to prison and stuff like that, or if we just never hear about it again. But the good thing is that they're being arrested. You got to look at this from the perspective of we're very, very infiltrated, and there was a day not too long ago that the police were not even doing the arrests. Well, since then, Mayor Adams up there in New York has completely abandoned the Democrat Party. They came after him, and he's an independent now. And he gave the order to New York City Police to not take nothing from these protesters. You arrest everybody who breaks the law. So, you know, things have changed, and the nature of a politician is to kind of test where the wind is blowing and run with that. So if you thought that you had your guy in office, but it comes down to him or you, you better think again. You better think again. So that's really good news too. Now for the big thing of the night. We're at 56 minutes. Guys, the Middle East explodes. This is about the worst timing possible for America, and it is what you call a wedge issue, not just for the national population here in America, because on the Democrat side you have the Jews versus the Arabs, ethnically and culturally, and you have Israel versus Hamas politically. And the reason I separate it out like that is because the political part has people who are not Jewish or not Arab signed up with it, right? You got a lot of white people out there holding Queers for Palestine signs, which is, oh man, that's like one of the best signs of lefties that I've ever seen. Wow, you knuckleheads! You think you would live for 5 minutes if you went over to Gaza, and nobody was watching over you? Man, they'd throw you off a rooftop. So this whole thing has popped off. Yeah, I didn't finish my thought there. So not only is it an issue nationally, but it's an issue in each party. I already talked to you about the left. You got Jewish people and pro-Israel people versus Arab people and pro-Hamas people. And it might be more appropriate to say Muslim people, to cover, you know, not everybody who's Muslim is Arab. So that's on that side. But on the right, you also have a splinter. For one, you do have a group of there's an anti-Semitic faction inside of MAGA. Now, whenever I say anti-Semitic, I mean like devoutly possible neo-Nazi associated levels of anti-Semitism. That's like their chief concern. We also, I believe, in a lot of our forums have both Jewish and Muslim infiltrators who are posing as MAGA, but actually just kind of trying to poison the well and spread narratives and propaganda, or try to curry favor and sympathy even with factual stuff, you know. So when you're talking about social media, it's the Wild West out there. It's not always easy to tell. This is the law. We gotta go. Yeah, we need to go pay this bounty off. I didn't think that they would know who we were because I had my mask on. Oh, this guy's gonna stay with me. Okay, fair enough. Oh, that's what you get. Got another one. Alright. We'll do the same with you. Oh, he's not going to cross that bridge. No, he's... I don't know. Cool.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and get out of here. Wow. Maybe we just need to keep riding until we can get that red flash to go away, and then I need to go pay this thing off. There we go. Alright, let's find out where I can go to pay for this. I need a mailbox. Stagecoach. Emerald Ranch. Yeah, let's go there. Okay, so we're gonna cross the railroad tracks right here. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a lot of potential for strife within each party. This is like, when I say a wedge issue, this could fracture alliances. Now, hey, so be it, man. I mean, the world keeps turning. I don't think you solve anything by sweeping it under the rug. There's sometimes appropriate timing or tactical timing, and there's diplomacy and stuff like that. But sometimes things just drop, and the cookie crumbles, and you got to deal with it as it comes. And this is one of those things. So I mention all that because this is brand new unfurling. You know, Israel has played some shenanigans before, it seems like, and starting mischief and pinning it on Muslims, or making it look like Muslims to kind of keep us tied up. That's an accusation. Let me say, that's an accusation. I don't necessarily subscribe to that. I know I just said it kind of seems like. I find it to be believable. But I don't necessarily think that that's true. It could be true. I don't know. That's what I'm trying to describe. I don't know. But this is going to be big news, I think, for the next few days. We'll see what happens. And when you have something like this happen, let me show you guys something. Let me go pay this first.
Yep.
Let me go through my notes here first. So number one, I think it was either earlier today or it was yesterday. Well, the State Department started evacuating, you know, like embassy people and stuff from the Middle East, and issuing something like lockdown orders for our bases and personnel, heightened sense of vigilance and security. You know, the heightened risk is happening right now. That all started happening, I'm sure, earlier this week. We didn't get word of it, but that's not something that would be advertised. Trump came out and alluded, you cannot allow Iran to have a nuclear weapon. This is what I'm saying. I agree with him.
There we go.
I would trust Kim Jong-un and North Korea with a nuclear weapon before I trusted Iran. To me, Kim Jong-un is just somebody who's trying to keep power, flex in his regional area, and show people I've got reasons for you to respect me. Don't think that you can push me around, right? Okay, that could be a problem. It was once before, and Trump flew up an entire carrier fleet and said, I dare you, because things were getting hot. He was launching nukes into the ocean. That stuff could have fallen on Japan.
If you wouldn't mind
because they were still
sleeve,
testing
sir,
things.
I really can't afford to get sick again this month.
Why don't you just do your job?
Oh, looks like we're free and clear.
It's just a polite request is all. Clear this right up for you.
What about received mail? Okay, Charles Châtenay. We know what to do there. I'm sorry, miss. Is there a place that I need to go? How did they know who I was? Yeah, it seems like we're okay. Here, I want to do this as a, just in case. I know we're over time here, but I still got stuff to go through. This was a really, really big day. I don't want to save that. I want to... Oh, wait a minute. Not load game. I almost messed that up. I want to create a temp save just because people are popping out on us, you know? I don't want to run into a situation where my horse dies and I got to reload from the very beginning and probably re-record this whole video. Let's brush the horse down. Feed once, probably. We'll feed Arthur too. So Trump alluded to Iran can't have a nuke. I agree with it because I think Iran, differently from North Korea, has demonstrated a high degree of propensity in the past. They absolutely run Hezbollah and I can't think of their name right now, guys, but the group that was part of Gaza, those were proxies for Iran. They have for years been waging war against Israel through proxies. They paint on their rockets. What was it? Death to the Jews, and I think something along the lines of push the Jews into the sea, which is a euphemism for exterminate the entire Israeli Jewish population. North Korea ain't saying nothing close to that about South Korea. These are two different things, totally different things. And Iran has been engaging in armed conflict for decades, where North Korea has not at all. If I remember correctly, I don't think they've even had a skirmish. Maybe there was something a few years ago where there was a flare-up between them and South. I think North Korea sank a South Korean ship. One. That was like the biggest thing that they'd done in forever. Well, Iran has crossed that threshold 1,000,000 times over. You know, so a nuclear weaponized Iran is crazy enough to launch a nuke at Israel. And if they have the capability, launch one at us, if they can get the distance. Or smuggle one over here as like a dirty bomb or something to that effect. They call us the Great Satan.
Yeah.
They burn our flag all the time. They've been chanting death to America for decades. Now, the population is kind of a different matter, but you're talking about a highly propagandized population over there, and not typically really a super smart one. There's, as I understand it, in the Middle East, there's a lot of inbreeding. There's a lot of mentally deficient people. There's also very, very smart people. That much is clear. You don't do what they've done with as little resources as what they have without having some very smart people. I'm not trying to say that Arabs are dumb. I'm just saying that they have a segment of their population that's pretty doggone easy to get riled up on any narrative that you could pick. You could rile them up over the idea that watermelon and ice cream was coming to kill them, and they'd believe you. They're that bad, the ones that I'm referencing. So you better believe you could bet your bottom dollar that if they have the capability to hit the U.S., they might do it. They have no love for us, so it's a national security issue. There are going to be a lot of people on my side that believe so heavily that Jews are responsible for a great deal of the evil. Now, this is another segment. This is not the segment that is purely all-out anti-Semitic, although it sounds an awful lot like it. What they are is they are noticing that a lot of the institutions we see in the West that unfurl some of the most suicidal things, or if you look at Hollywood and all the disgusting things that happen there with the casting couch and young women and then even children and pedophilia and child porn and stuff like that, that a lot of these people, the power brokers, the people at the top that are making all this happen are Jewish. Well, I'm saying, like, I don't know how you can say with a straight face that Harvey Weinstein is not Jewish, for example. That's just an observed fact. And I'm someone who is in the side of the Christian church that's very pro-Israel. I am very pro-Jewish. I understand some of the things. I've looked into it, spent time looking into Jewish contribution to societies over the years and centuries. I appreciate that. I've read books about the value on life that many Jews place. I've studied the Holocaust pretty intently. What else? I've spent quality time with Jewish households, some of them American Jewish, some of them Americans that were married to literal Israeli Jews, right? Not just American Jewish people, but Israeli. But, you know, I also think that there's a large segment of the Jewish population that is atheistic now, and so they don't really count on God. A lot of those principles go by the wayside when you believe that you're under existential threat all the time, and that whenever they say never again, they mean to take it upon themselves, whether by hook or by crook. Never again means never again, and that they don't trust outsiders, and they certainly don't trust anybody of white European heritage, which is not hard to understand given the history there, but is still just as incorrect as labeling all black people thieves and thugs. Right? It's not correct. It doesn't matter what the history is. You're mapping that onto the present, and you're painting with broad paint strokes, right? So this is the group I'm talking about, that they are not pro-Jewish like I am. They may be Christian. There's a lot of Catholics, and there's I would say Calvinists who do not believe that Israel's anything special, and there's no religious tie to support Jews there, so that they don't hold those sentiments. And they are noticing that a lot of things that are happening that are of the social engineering variety and of the sick, demented sexual exploitation and blackmail, and especially the pedophilia, comes from circles that seem to have Jewish people set up at the top.
Yeah.
Right? So they don't want any part of this at all. And it's not from a position of, I hate Jewish people for being Jewish. And they don't feel like that they don't rubber stamp. As far as I can tell, this is me reading on forums a lot and looking at their threads, and as they get into arguments with people that accuse them of this, that, or the other, they do not believe that all Jews are evil. That's the other group I mentioned, right? This group here just believes some are, and that they have what do they call that? A disproportionate amount of influence, and they're pushing evil, and they manipulate nation states and seek to gain influence and things of that nature, right? So that group's not going to want to have anything to do with being over in Israel. Then there's a third group that is just simply America first. I don't care about Jewish or Arabs, or I don't care about Ukrainians. I don't care about Russians. This is y'all's problem. This is very close, in my opinion, to the isolationist crowd during World War II that said, let Europe fight Europe. We don't want to have any part of that war, talking about World War II. And World War II came to our doorstep. Right. But in my opinion, they have more legitimacy now than they did back during World War II, because now what we're starting to find out is that this globalist American war machine has been in people's business way too much. Just way too much. And a number of us are absolutely sick and tired of it. And we don't want to interfere or come to the defense of other nations over their crises. So I don't know which one's right there. At some point in time, I mean, I really do believe you can't afford to let Iran have a nuke. That's just asking for trouble. Do you want to start World War III? Let Iran have a nuke and just wait for them to tee off, because it'll happen sooner rather than later. That's my belief. But Israel conducted a first strike on them tonight, and it was a doozy. People are saying they've never seen anything like it. The precision here. They completely decapitated Iran's general staff. So if I'm understanding that correctly, this is all unfolding. So maybe I have something wrong here. But it seems like they knocked out the entirety of Iran's military leadership. But maybe it was just in the nuclear division. I'm not quite sure. And then in addition to that, they wiped out a number of the lead nuclear scientists. And then Israel struck a second time, and I'm not sure what that one was. I think they bombed the actual Iran nuclear facility. Maybe it was in Tehran. I'm a little bit fuzzy on that.
Yeah.
And Iran, of course, has said they will respond in kind, and it's coming. They just haven't had a chance, because they were obviously Israel struck first, so Iran's kind of like, holy crap, get everything under control, and then we'll put together a plan, and you'll have our response tomorrow. So that's happening. This is about the worst time I can think of. But like I said, man, you just can't dictate how the world turns, and you got to deal with stuff as it comes. But we're looking at possible flare-ups with cartels. We got a domestic crisis unfolding with paid crisis actors and violent protesters. That's causing. We got a Democrat Party that's trying to capitalize on all of that for political expediency, which can be a threat if they can get a hold of the narrative. We've got tons of resources being thrown at mapping out and chasing down how this stuff is all getting funded and what this network is composed of, and where the people are at, who they are, and what we can do about it. Mexico is not saber rattling, but like what I would call diplomacy rattling. No doubt, because they're being affected. They're being affected financially. They're being affected as far as people pouring back over their border, and they don't have the money to take care of them. They're being affected by the fact that they're exception, as corrupt as America is. Mexico's doubly corrupt, and the cartels, I'm sure, are putting pressure on there. So that's an entire fiasco unfolding right here regionally. So this is a really bad time for all this to happen, but that's the way it is. And so you got to deal with it. Can't just sit there and complain and whine and cry about how things are. You have to address it. And so we'll see how that unfolds. That's another thing that's going to be interesting. I think that by Monday we'll know how it's going and how people feel about it. So that wraps up that part. The last part that I have then, and then we'll call it an episode, I titled it Wins. So Let's start with the thing that happened first on the list. And this wasn't today. This happened earlier in the week, I want to say, but maybe it was last week. But RFK Jr. fired the entire CDC Vaccine Advisory Committee. I say good. The left is out there being like, he's firing all the science. Yeah, your science with a $sign is what ran us into the ground, lost people their entire family fortunes, changed destinies for people in the worst during COVID, and got you guys, the left, Democrats. A lot of times I use words interchangeably, and I really actually try to mean them to mean specific things. But Democrats, so this is like the whole kit and caboodle, not just the crazies, to vote, to poll in a majority, I think it was 52%, in favor of the unvaccinated getting hospital treatment last, the unvaccinated being mandated to get the vaccine, the unvaccinated to be forced quarantined, to be fired from their jobs and removed from the public square, and even, this is shocking, but a plurality to wait. This one was not a plurality, but it polled at a high rate for what it was. I think it was in the high 30s or low 40 percentile to have their children stripped from them. Wow, you people are evil. You're a bunch of animals. That's disgusting. You scream about protecting democracy, but we're ready to throw up the most draconian measures that I can think of because you got scared. I'll always remember who you are. That's when the mask slipped. I kind of knew it before, but we didn't really have proof. It's whenever you got scared and you showed everybody who you are and what you're willing to do. I never take a Democrat seriously whenever they talk about protecting democracy. Their party non-democratically appointed the person that was going to run for president, and they were all okay with it. I mean, there was a little bit of shying away, but like a little bit of rhetoric about that, but I think the ones who were not okay with it came to our side, because we sure did get a lot of you. And those people I'm cool with. They at least woke up. Look at Anna Kasparian, part of the Young Turks, one of the most leftist podcasts out there. Hard left. And she's intellectually honest and smart enough to recognize what's going on and that she messed up. Well, okay, you know, I respect that, and I'm excited to see that kind of stuff. But as I've said before, for as long as you're on the other side, I'm totally against you. You people are nuts. So I don't care if you worried that RFK fired the entire scientific board. It was 17 advisors. He actually fired 19 people, so there were 2 more elsewhere. As far as I'm concerned, the entire COVID fiasco was a absolute failure and disaster. And that it was that way on purpose. I think some very dark things were done purposely for very dark reasons, and they were willing to spend people's blood and lives to accomplish their ends, and you guys supported it and cheered it on. Yeah, no, I'm not really listening to what you have to say on this. I'm really happy that RFK Jr. wiped the table. I don't know what his motivations were. I don't know how much he investigated it. I'm telling you, I would have wiped the table just to start from scratch. I think there's a lot of corporate interests tied up in these kinds of things. I would have done it without an investigation. Just been like, this whole room is fired. We're starting over. I don't trust a single one of you. Kash Patel is suing MSNBC because they were saying that he was out at nightclubs more often than he was in the briefing rooms. That they had somebody on that interviewed that way, and there was no pushback or anything like that, no research done. It was just taken at face value, and it turns out that it was a completely fabricated lie. And so he's suing them for not, I guess, a lack of journalistic integrity. Like, they didn't do their job. They're supposed to check in on stuff like this. So I consider that a win. Even if that doesn't go forward or anything, just the willingness to put the left on notice. And right now, the media is under a lot of stress, a lot of pressure. They've been kicked out of the White House. The AP has been removed from Air Force One. They're being replaced by people, by podcasters and stuff. They're at an all-time low credibility rating nationwide, no matter what your political affiliation is. They're under a terrible strain. And then riding right on the back of that, after Trump won his lawsuit against ABC and their liberal CEO, she stood against buckling to that. Like, I guess they had like a board meeting, and ABC was saying, we need to settle. This was over George Stephanopoulos. We need to settle because he stands a chance of winning. And $60 billion? It would break their company. And after their lawyers advised them and said, yeah, he could win. And so they were going to settle out of court, and their CEO said, no, I don't agree with that at all. So they said, all right, girl, bye. And she was allowed to resign, but basically she was fired. So that's, that happened a little while ago. Well, now ABC, I think it's ABC, is under heat again because one of their anchors, the guy that did an interview with Trump recently, went on like a drunken screed on X.com about a number of people, including the president, and I think Kash Patel was included in that also. I can't recall for sure. And they came under a ton of heat for that, and they eventually fired that guy. So I consider that a win. All of this stuff is shifting the Overton window back to the right. It's balancing things out again, and it's leveling out this woke, hellish landscape of social media and cancel culture that we've lived in, where only one side gets canceled and the other side gets a free pass to anything they want. And they're really reaping. The chickens are coming home to roost. Elon apologized. That's another win. So I would consider that to be an admission that he freaked out. A lot of people think he was high when he started rage tweeting about the bill, the big beautiful bill. That's making progress, but I don't have really any updates except to say that the people seem to feel good about it being able to pass. We'll see. It's got to get by the Senate also, but that's something I haven't followed real closely, so I don't know where it's at. But the news I have heard about it seems generally positive. It's not a for sure thing. It's not super positive, but they think they can get it across the line. But on that note, the House passed the first round of Doge cuts. They have slashed $9.4 billion from USAID, NPR, and PBS. All of these things are helping to either finance things like what just went down in LA or to pump out the rhetoric that makes people want to participate in those kinds of things because they believe that, holy smokes, concentration camps are right around the corner and fascism has raised its head again. And an anti-ICE protester who decided to act out in LA I guess one of the cops shot him with a beanbag or something. Rubber bullets? I don't know, but that dude got shot square in the nuts. And now he has one nut. He lost the ball. It's okay, he's a soy boy, he doesn't need them. But you know, so he's got one to spare. But anyway, I thought that was funny. To me that's good news. That's like you get what you deserve, right? Karma. And then the last thing that I'll say is that something that I very rarely do. I don't usually argue with the propagandized. There's just no sense. Why would you do that? They're not mentally well. They believe in a completely fictitious narrative that they absolutely believe is factual. They won't provide you with proof. They'll point to things that they think is proof, but all that stuff gets disproven. And you're never going to change their mind. Even if you were to tear their argument apart and prove your side, they're not going to believe you. They're captured. They're indoctrinated. But in this one occasion, I posted something on an AFPI posting. That's the America First Policy Institute. And a lefty responded to me, and he used the typical. He didn't use the word, but he alluded to fascism. How do I want to put this? He alluded to just because laws are in place don't mean that they're just. And he was pointing to World War II, where resistance against those laws was the morally right thing to do. Okay, you've got a point. That was correct in World War II. This is not. This is not that. And so we got into a debate, and he did end up using fascism. And I'm telling you, I vaporized this dude. Absolutely turned him into ash rhetorically. And blew his argument apart about how I told him he's disgusting for trying to equate an authoritarian regime that would arrest you and toss you into a concentration camp and then torture you to death because you didn't seek Heil that day, right? Or you stated a position that was inconsistent with the party's position. I said, here you are arguing a position that's inconsistent with the party that's in power in public, and you haven't been arrested yet, and you're calling them fascists, and you're calling us fascists for supporting them upholding a centuries-old law, not new laws, not new laws that were based on blood identity and ethnicity and executed people, but for simply collecting people up that violated a centuries-old law of don't cross the border illegally, and then paying for them to be returned to their home nations. Like, that's gross. That's a gross misunderstanding of history and a terrible application of one of the biggest horrors that has happened in the 20th century. You dilute the meaningfulness of what happened in the 30s and 40s when you make false equivalencies like that. And we went back and forth for a few posts, and I just absolutely blew them up. I posted a picture. I showed him how the polling was going, that most people were against him. I even cheered him on. I was like, please, man, keep it up, because you are literally chasing people into our camp. You people are nuts. You're insane. And nobody's with you. Everybody is starting to hate you for this, for these kinds of positions, you know. And I posted a picture showing he was trying to say that there was a lot of peaceful protesting going on. He was talking about people getting arrested in hospitals and like Home Depot parking lots and stuff like that. And so I posted a picture of LA burning and the dude on top of the car waving the Mexican flag, and And he said that a picture without context isn't the flex I think it was. So we went back and forth on what ICE was doing, what the history was behind that, and I explained to him about how ICE wants to arrest criminals. And they want to arrest them when they're in jail, but the cities are releasing them into the community. So then ICE has to go into the community and arrest them, and whenever they do that, anybody that's caught that's affiliated with them, or even just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Maybe these guys ran back to their old neighborhood. ICE ends up in the neighborhood and finds out that the next door neighbor, who's completely unaffiliated, is also illegal. Well, guess what? They just got caught. And that's 100%. That's not on ICE. That's on the city for releasing these people and making ICE go into the community to get them. These sanctuary cities, So, and then after that, I posted like 9 different photographs or snapshots that just absolutely destroyed his narrative, including pictures of hiring advertisements placed on things like Craigslist that I was talking about at the beginning of this episode, and how this was all AstroTurf, that the group that was most in alignment with me, who he called a fascist, was, drumroll, first-generation legal immigrants. They are the most anti-illegal immigrant demographic in the nation right now, which I was surprised about. They surpassed black people. Black people were, African Americans, were the most anti-enemy gangs. You've discovered a gang hideout. Okay, let's go. Time to run. They were the most anti-immigrant demographic there for a while. They didn't want to just shut down illegal immigration. They wanted to shut down all immigration, which at the time nobody else was talking about. Nobody else. They were the only ones. I thought that was pretty extreme. Like, I'm pretty strongly pro-legal immigration. That's where the Dems' message is correct, where it's like this nation was built on immigration, but the Dems incorrectly apply that to illegal immigrants. It doesn't cross that river, brother. You're effectively lying at that point in time, and you know what you're doing, right? So anyway, I totally decimated this dude. I was real happy with it. I did end up letting him have the last word because I saw I had completely annihilated him. Like, his answers were being reduced to... He eventually, at one point in time, just said, well, we'll see. Yeah, okay. I told him that was the first sensible thing he'd said the entire conversation. So, that's another good news item for me. And at just about... Uh-oh. Here we go. This is going to be a kill on me.
Man, that hurt.
No, I couldn't get him. Oh, shoot. Shoot. Where's he at? He got me. I don't even know what buttons to push there. That was cool, man. Good way to end it. We'll let Arthur resurrect. He'll just lose some money. And we're good. But at about approaching a minute 40, this episode's finally done. I just felt like the Thursday, this was a news day, man. A whole bunch of stuff happened. And I wanted to talk about all of that. So we'll see what happens tomorrow and especially Saturday.
Remember me, boy?
But we should get back to more regular episodes in the future. I can't remember a time that this much news on this many different topics has come out in one day. Let's see. Are we maybe need to get out of this section. The problem with these Panthers is that a lot of times they stay in the same spot and they attack you again. But it looks like we're going to be all right. Yeah, we're clear. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and save it. Oh, that's the map, sorry. Wild times, man. What a time to be alive. I'm so excited. It's not that all of this is good news, but I'm very excited to be alive during a momentous time. This'll all be written about in history books. We'll delete this one and overwrite this one. Should still be 62.7, and it is. So it's a very momentous time where we're seeing population shifts all over the world. I mean, you should see the fight back that the Irish are giving right now. That's very encouraging. And what am I looking for? Motivating. It's like kind of something to really respect and admire. And I think I heard that the Brits are starting to do the same thing. These are really interesting times to see entire cultures, a cultural shift in multiple nations. That's why I say we're in an era that's like a mix between the tech revolution of the industrial revolution and the philosophical and ideological revolution of the Enlightenment period. It's like both of these things are happening at the same time, and it's fascinating. And it's why I encourage you guys to check out Steve Turley, because he's the best one that I've found that covers this, not just from an American perspective, but what all's going on in Europe too. And so he has, it's just really neat. But again, I'm Aesop Grimm. Thank you for coming by the channel. I hope you like what you saw. More importantly, I hope all is well in your neck of the woods. And I'll see you in the next episode where this story continues.